Hey everyone, welcome to Wax Pack Wisdom. I'm Jake T. O'Donnell. Today is Saturday. I'm in a great mood. The Red Sox just put 12 runs up on the Yankees. Doesn't get better than that. They've already won the series. That's a lot of fun. It's fun to beat the Yankees. You may hear my voice is a little may sound a little weird. There's been a little bit of a cold going through Wax Pack Wisdom headquarters here. I'm doing okay. I wish I was doing a little bit better, but I have a little bit of a jolt of energy. I have had a video I've wanted to do, and I figured I would do it. And if you watch to the end of the video that I did where I put out my top 10 most iconic cards, I did let folks know that I won a big gold card in the REA auction that ended last Sunday. I believe this card showed up, I think it showed up yesterday, Friday. Might have showed up on Thursday, I don't remember. But I'm kind of just feeling well enough now to do the video. So this is a card that I have been after for a few months. It checks several boxes for my PC. And it was a card that was high on my want list for the National, but I didn't see a single version of this card anywhere at the National. But it was in this REA auction, and I feel like once I saw it, I figured unless I see it at the National, I'm gonna go for this card. It was the one card that I honed in on the auction. I felt like I got it at a reasonable price. But anyway, without further ado, here's the card. I got my T204 Ramly cigarettes of Hall of Fame third base legend Jimmy Collins in an SGC2. Look at that Ramly. One of the most beautifully designed baseball cards of all time. The Ramly set. Lettering on the back, the Ramly Turkish cigarettes, 10 for 10 cents. And the factory number, and it also lists state of Mass, the factory. I would be somewhat interested to know if that is reference to where the cards were manufactured, where the cards were put into the packs, because they don't grow tobacco in Massachusetts. I promise you that. But anyway, the old flip SGC2, will probably get this reholdered at some point here, but in the meantime, I'm just thrilled to own this card. Like I said, I didn't see a single copy of this card at the National. I saw a lot of Ramleys. I saw a lot of Jimmy Collins cards because he's got cards in the T205 and T206 sets, but not any of this card. And as far as I could tell, in terms of public sales, this card the Ramly Jimmy Collins, different grades obviously, but Ramly Jimmy Collins I had only seen 2 public sales of this card, of a Ramly Jimmy Collins, in the last 2 years. So, card that doesn't come up very often, and I decided that as long as this card in the REA auction did not go crazy, way over whatever my expectation was, I wanted to get it. And so I did. And here it is. So the reason why this checks 2 different boxes in my collection is, number one, I have never owned a card from the Ramly set before. So I really wanted to get a Ramly. That's number one. And number two, I really wanted a Jimmy Collins card. And yes, it's got the T206 and the T205s of him. But I just wanted to go for something a little bit more unique. And Jimmy Collins, to me, and I'm going to talk all about him, one of the most important figures in Red Sox history. There are not very many playing days Jimmy Collins cards with the Red Sox. And as you can see, this lists him as the manager of the Minneapolis Millers. He was a player manager in the minor leagues in 1909, 1910, and 1911. But the opportunity to just get but it is playing days because he was still playing, an opportunity to get one of his cards in a set that I didn't have any before, and did not have any cards from this set. Just had to do it. So as far as the Ramly set goes, at 1909, there's 121 cards, I believe. There's a fair number of Hall of Famers in the set. There's not a lot of huge names. I think the most significant card, by far, I would say the most significant card in the set, is what is generally considered to be Walter Johnson's rookie card. It is the portrait, is the sort of, I think, I would assume like a this is a Carl Horner portrait of Jimmy Collins, the Carl Horner portrait that you see on his T206 card. It's one of the more valuable cards in the hobby. And there's a lot of other Hall of Famers in this set. There's a lot of other great players in this set as well. The Walter Johnson stands out. But I would say that the graded population of a lot of the cards in the Ramly set are probably around 60, which is quite a bit less than the T205s and the T206s. So that's why it was so rare for this card to come up, and why I was so happy to pounce on it. And again, just so distinctive with the design, this sort of ornate patterns around the oval picture. And like I said, hard to come by Jimmy Collins cards, because his career in the majors, or his playing career, really kind of just spans this period of time between like 1895 and his last year playing in the major leagues is 1908. So 1895 to 1908. There's just not a lot of sets, of widely available sets in that time frame. Because you think of like 1895 as like Mayo's Cut Plug and a couple of other tobacco sets. And then obviously 1909, that's the first year of T206, American Caramel. Like it kind of explodes from there, right, for the rest into the 1910s and the rest of that decade. But that time period, that's mostly Jimmy Collins' career. There's just not a lot of opportunities to get his cards. What's widely considered to be his rookie card is the Bryce Williams 1903, the E107s. Those cards are real tough, and they are real expensive. And then there's also he has a Fan Craze card, which usually those run high grade, and usually those are expensive. And again, those are game cards. Those are not like, cards from packs of gum or tobacco or caramels or whatever. So just so few opportunities for him to even have cards. And he's on cabinet cards, and he's on team cards, and he's on postcards and that kind of thing. But just, again, just what we consider really the cards, just not a lot of opportunities there. So let's talk a little bit about Jimmy Collins. Jimmy Collins was the first third baseman ever elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. He got in before Home Run Baker. He got in before Pie Traynor. He got in before any other third baseman. He was the first one ever in. He is a seminal, critical pioneer in the history of my favorite team, the Boston Red Sox. And, there's always a lot of focus when we talk about Red Sox history about the teams that, came in when Fenway Park opens in 1912, and they win those championships with Babe Ruth and Smokey Joe Wood and Harry Hooper and Tris Speaker and all of those guys. But the first great Red Sox teams were the teams that were established when the American League started in 1901. And the star of those teams was Jimmy Collins. But let's back up even further on that. Jimmy Collins is from Buffalo. He signs his first contract with a major league team. He jumps from the minor league team in Buffalo to the National League team in Boston. He gets loaned out to the Louisville Colonels, Barney Dreyfuss, Fred Clark. It was the team that a couple of years later they signed Honus Wagner, and most of that team ends up going over to the Pirates when Bernie Dreyfuss does like kind of a trade to buy the Pirates, and the rest is history there. But the Louisville Colonels were a National League team, and the Braves, who eventually became the Braves, they loaned Jimmy Collins out to the Colonels, and he kind of does great at the end of the 1895 season, so much so that the Braves want him back. And he becomes a star. He is a consistent 300 hitter year in, year out. One year he leads the National League in home runs with 15, and defensively he is the best of the best. He is the best defensive third baseman of his era by far. And he becomes a star in Boston. He always clashes with ownership over salary, though. Year in, year out, it's a constant fight. He wants more money than they're willing to give him, and he views himself as one of the big stars in the game, and the Braves are kind of just not willing to sort of meet his price usually, and there's fights and holdouts, and eventually they settle and he ends up playing. So 1901, the American League comes into existence. Ban Johnson, the head of the president of the league, and a bunch of new teams come in and get created in all of these cities to provide direct competition to the National League teams. And for Jimmy Collins, he jumped at the opportunity, literally jumped from the Braves, again, the team that would become the Braves, to the Red Sox. The Red Sox start operating in 1901, and they make Jimmy Collins the manager, they make him the captain of the team, and they make him the starting everyday third baseman. All of those things. They give him a big salary. I believe he signs like a 3-year. Mr. Collins here getting the big money, getting like I think it was like a 3-year contract. And so he becomes the big star attraction of the Red Sox. One thing that's interesting is that we've heard a lot about the Royal Rooters, right? You hear a lot about that. The Royal Rooters was a group of well-known fans. They were originally fans of the Braves, and then when the Red Sox came in, partially because of Jimmy Collins and his greatness and that kind of thing, the Royal Rooters started to kind of move their allegiance. They moved their allegiance over to the Red Sox. And that's what grows, and it doesn't take very long for the Red Sox to become the team in Boston, and they overshadow the Braves pretty much for the rest of the time that the Braves are in Boston for the next 50 years. And Jimmy Collins is a huge part of that. Again, he's a star. He is the first star ever in the history of the Boston Red Sox. And they have a great team in 1901. They have a great team in 1902. 1903, they win the pennant. They win the American League pennant in the third year of existence. And there's an agreement with the National League that year that they're going to play in the first modern World Series. That the champions of the two different leagues are going to get together, and they're going to play in the first modern World Series. The Red Sox win that World Series, and Jimmy Collins is the guy. The next year, 1904, there's no agreement to play a World Series, but the Red Sox once again win the pennant. And in the American League. And so back-to-back pennant wins for Jimmy Collins and the Red Sox. And then, of course, that's the last year that there's no World Series until 1994 when there was no World Series because of the strike. But they've played the World Series every year, 1905 to now, except for 94. And yeah, Collins continues to be a star there. His play starts to drop off a little bit. He gets traded to the Athletics. He plays for Connie Mack, and he's there for about a year and a half. And then going into 1909, he wanted to keep playing. The best opportunity that he had was to go play for the Minneapolis Millers of the American Association as a player manager. He's there for a year, 1909, and then he goes to Providence to play, I guess that would be the Eastern League, to be the manager, player manager of the Providence Grays. He's there 1910, 1911, and then he retires after that. His T205 card is of him with Providence. So after that, he goes into, he tries to get work in Boston and doesn't really work out. He moves back to Buffalo. He becomes kind of a real estate guy there and is successful and stays in baseball as well, like working locally. And then he dies in the mid-40s. It's before he has a chance to get elected to the Hall of Fame. His first time on the ballot as for the writers, he doesn't get in, but I believe they were doing a thing at the time where the Old Timers Committee, what was called the Old Timers Committee back then, would vote every year, and Collins was elected unanimously by the Old Timers Committee in 1947. And so he is, like I said, the first third baseman ever in the Baseball Hall of Fame. So again, for that reason, great third baseman, one of the all-time greats, defensively spectacular, 300 hitter, a power hitter for his era, a big-time star in Boston, and one of the most important people in the history of my favorite team, and the difficulty that there is in terms of getting Red Sox playing days cards of him. I am thrilled to add this Jimmy Collins card to my PC, and again, I will probably get this reholdered at some point here. So thank you for watching. We'll have more content next week. I got a ComC order coming in. That should be in hopefully on Monday. A request. It's going to be all Yaz. Happy belated birthday to Yaz, by the way, who turned 86 years young earlier this week. Hope you're doing well, Yaz. Thanks for everything. So we're going to celebrate Yaz, as we often do on the channel. We're going to do that at the beginning of next week. And then I'm expecting that the SGC order that I sent in right after the National should go into post-grading at the beginning of this week, based off of other people I know that sent SGC orders in the same time frame. So I don't know that I'm going to get that back by the end of next week, but hopefully we'll get it sooner rather than later. So anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about this, about Jimmy Collins. Is there anything about his history, his past that I missed? Please leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Check out our ComC store. Check out where to follow us on social media channels. And please check out our list of favorite nonprofits and charities. We would really appreciate it if you would support one of them. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Wax Pack Wisdom. Take care.